Ήταν Ιούλιος του 2012 όταν οι ερευνητές του CERN και του προγράμματος Atlas επιβεβαίωναν την ύπαρξη του μποζονίου Higgs. Ο καθηγητής Michael Touch ήταν από τους ανθρώπους που είχαν ρόλο συντονιστή σε αυτήν την προσπάθεια. Ο κύριος Touch βρέθηκε πρόσφατα στην Ελλάδα και μας ξεναγεί στον κόσμο του μποζονίου Higgs.
It's the Higgs field that's important, and the Higgs boson is a consequence of the Higgs field. So, a Higgs field is important, and the reason it's important is the following. Elementary particles, the stuff that you are made of, that I am made of, have different weights. They weigh different amounts. And it's an important question to ask, how do those particles get their weight? Why do some of them have zero weight? Why do some of them very heavy? If you imagine that the Higgs boson did not exist, then all the particles would have no weight. They would be massless. If they are massless, you can't make an atom. If you can't make an atom, you can't make a molecule. If you can't make a molecule, you can't make you. Physicists don't like to call it the God particle because that has many implications about religion which we don't want to, we're not discussing. So, but one reason is what I told you earlier, that if there were no Higgs field and no Higgs boson, then all elementary particles would have zero mass. If they have zero mass, you can't make an atom, you can't make you don't exist. So you only exist because there is a Higgs boson. So in that sense, you might call it the God particle. The name, the God particle, came from a book that was written by a famous physicist, Leon Lederman, a Nobel laureate, because we've been looking for the God particle. We've been looking for the Higgs boson for the last 50 years. And only recently in 2012 did we find it. He wrote this book, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, but we've been looking already for many decades for this particle. So he actually wanted to call the book The Goddamn Particle, because it was so painful that he couldn't find it. But his editor said, no, you can't call it the goddamn particle. You have to call it something else, like the God particle. So that's how it got its name.
Ο Michael Touch τέθηκε επικεφαλής του προγράμματος Atlas, στο οποίο μετήχαν 3.000 κορυφαίοι φυσικοί από 38 διαφορετικές χώρες, αναζητώντας το ιερό δισκοπότηρο της χιλιετίας, ένα σωματίδιο, το οποίο υπήρχε μόνο στη θεωρία.
Atlas experiment, which is the one that I work on, has 3,000 physicists working on it from 182 different institutions from 38 different countries. There are 1,000 graduate students working on this experiment. So it's not one, it's a collaboration to do this. And there were multiple problems starting in the beginning. It took many years to build the experiment. So that's the first thing you have to do, is you have to build this experiment, which the Atlas experiment you can think of as a big, like, digital camera. It takes pictures of collisions of particles, and they produce new particles, and then you take a digital picture of that. And then you look at the picture and you see whether you find new particles or not. And then you have to analyze the data that you get, these pictures that we do. You have to understand what they're telling you and what's in the pictures. And so that requires a vast amount of computing resources. It requires people working on the experiment, analyzing the data. So each of those steps is a lot of work. And each one was a major accomplishment.